Guys, we're looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour, and we did come to this resistance on 46874, and we're rejecting on it right now. So we need a pullback, and the pullback can potentially come back down to this previous lower high that we do have here on the 46,000. This is where we are, and I'm gonna show you in this video where the pullback targets can be. And remember, I am not a financial advisor, so please look everything up yourself. Continue watching this video. I'm gonna show you exactly what I see. Looking at the daily on Bitcoin, we do have this engulfing candle. Obviously, it has to close like that for it to be engulfed, but we do have 3 hours before the candle closes. Going to the lower time frames, we can see that this support that we did have on 44387 was pretty strong, so the market never closed below it, and it did continue to the upside. We did break this previous lower high that we had on 46042, and right now what I can see the market can potentially do is coming back down here and retest the previous lower high, because obviously when we are breaking to the upside, when we're breaking a downtrend, you can see that we did have a little downtrend right here. You can see you have the lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low, and now we broke to the upside, broke this previous lower high, made a high. Usually comes back down and retest the previous lower high. It can come back down a little bit more too, but obviously that's something that we do have to see, as long as it's not breaking the previous lower low that we have, because if it does that, we can still see that the market will continue to the downside. But right now, the only thing we can focus on is that we actually did break this previous lower high, so that's good. If we break that, we can eventually then break 47,000, and with time also come back to 50,000. That's something that we will see hopefully during this week. Until then, it's a lot of things that will happen in between. But right now we do have to break this previous resistance, but we're at this previous support turning into resistance. So obviously the market needs some momentum to break this zone right here. We can see how it looks on the 2-hour, and we can also come back down, and this is a previous resistance turning into support. We can take the Fibonacci levels and see where it potentially can come to. So I take it from the low, that's 44952, to the high, and that's 46772. And you can see that the market can come back down here and retest the Fibonacci levels right here, and that's the 50 and 61%. Obviously we want to see patterns that shows us momentum to the upside. If we're going back to the lower time frames and see what's happening there, I did have this trend line that I did have on the higher time frames before, and you can just see how it looks. Copy and paste it, and you can see that I did put this trend line and the market did break it, and we did retest it, almost came back down but not quite. So this is also an area where the market can come back down to and retest with time. If we're looking at the lower time frames, we do have this previous high around this area. You can see that the market came back down and retested it, and if you're combining that with the higher time frames, you can see that it's just above this previous resistance right here. So if the market comes back down a little bit more and break this zone, that's okay. You can also take the Fibonacci from the low, and that's 45803 to the high, and that is 46851. And you can see that we're almost at that area right now. You can definitely come back down here and retest the previous lower high. This is an important area for me that I'm looking at. This area right here, and on the higher time frames you can see that's the previous lower high. So that's a perfect area for us to look at if you want to see that the pullback is ending at that area. I can see opportunities for me to buy the market. That's what I see on Bitcoin. In the long run, I do believe that we will continue coming back to 50,000, but obviously we just have to wait and see what the market will do until then. But that's definitely a target that I do have. If we're looking at Ethereum, it looks quite the same. We can take the Fibonacci levels from the low, and that's 3203, from the high 3389, and we have the Fibonacci level at 3292 and 3270. You can see that that's also a previous resistance that we do have. We can go to the line chart just to see, and let's see, we can do it like that. And you can see that we did have this as a resistance for a couple of times. Going back to the candlestick chart, if the market comes back down here and show us rejections, candlestick patterns, that shows us that it wants to continue to the upside. We can have a doji, we can have engulfing candle, other types of candlestick patterns that shows rejections and that it will continue to the upside. We can definitely go back down to the lower time frames. We can copy and paste this Fibonacci level to the lower time frames just to make sure that where I can have my targets. And you can also see that we do have it right here. And if the market comes back down here, and it can also respect the low of London session, also respect the low of Asia. So this is actually a very good target for the market to come back down to, for me to see potential buy opportunities. You can also see right now that the market is actually retesting this trend line that I do have to the downside. The market can continue to the upside also, but it needs to break this high that I do have here, and that's 3397 before. Right now, I don't know if the market's gonna respect this trend line and make another lower high, because it's obviously lower than the previous lower high, and if it's break it, it can potentially be another lower low. So right now we are something that we do have to wait and see. We're pretty high up. We are at a resistance area right here. Also looking at the higher time frames, you can see that we do respect 3354, this previous resistance that we did have here. Depending on how this candle close, and if it's retesting this high that we do have here, obviously I want to see how it looks on the lower time frames. And we can do it like this. We can just take this one, copy and paste it to the lower time frames, and right now we are at that area and we are respecting it. I do believe that it's too tight. I do believe the market will come back down a little bit more, but obviously that's something that we have to wait and see. If we're taking Fibonacci level from the low to the high, and that's the low is 3328, the high is 3388. We can see that we do have the Fibonacci level at that area, and the Fibonacci levels are 3352 and 3359, and you have this previous resistance right now maybe turning into support at 3355. So we just have to wait and see if the market will react to it in some way. I want to see how it looks on the daily. Yeah, we just and you have this little triangle right here. Ooh, looking good. Either it has to break to the upside or it needs to break to the downside. We are in this triangle and we do make lower lows and lower highs. So right now, patience is needed, but have in mind that we do actually, we can retest this previous resistance. Until tomorrow, we just have to wait and see. Have a good day, trade with risk management, and we see each other tomorrow.